How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the weekly edition of the Startup Mac Vlog. I'm Mac, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host.
Kate, and it's on a Saturday. Happy Saturday, everyone.
Happy Saturday. This is a Saturday edition. This week, I actually started a new position, so kind of threw our schedule off a bit, but we're back. We're going to keep this going. We said we were going to be consistent every week, and sticking to that. Being consistent.
Yes.
So last week we talked about how to get into an accelerator. It's an early stage tech startup or just venture. There are plenty of programs around the country called accelerators. If you haven't watched that video, go to the YouTube channel. It's up. I suggest you watch that first. But this week we're going to talk about what happens once you got accepted. Once you've gone through the process, did your interview, got in, now what? That's going to be the background, the idea for this vlog.
What was the first day like? I'll just jump into the first question.
The first day, for both accelerators, the first day was kind of just an introduction. You get to meet all the other teams. You kind of get an overview of what the program's going to be, how it's going to be structured, what the rules are, when you have to be there, when you don't have to be there in the offices or whatever. And they kind of outline what's expected of you. So the first day is just kind of like the first day of a new job. It's like orientation. You get the basic orientation of what things are going to be like.
Okay, so last thing you were talking about was that the first day is just orientation day. But I wanted to ask, within the first few days, couple of days, I guess coming in as a startup accelerator, a lot of people are like ready to go, can either be intimidated. So what's like, how should they prepare themselves emotionally and like psychologically in a way?
I think there's several things you should do to kind of prepare yourself. Before you get in, understand that your accelerator is going to be anywhere from like 3 to 6 months, which initially might sound like you have time to do things, but that's really almost no time. Like if you look at in the grand scheme of things that you running your company, 3 or 6 months time isn't a whole lot of time, like in the life cycle of your company at all. And this is the one time in your company where you'll have the most access and the most attention on you for the most part. Like in this period of time, you're going to have the most exposure and access and interest that you might ever have in your company. And you have to use that time wisely because you may never get this again. You may never get this kind of chance again. So understand that you're going to be there, and for those 3 months, you're working, you're grinding, and it's all about your company. You're not going to have time to socialize and go wild. And no, you need to use that time wisely because once those 3 months are up, they're up. So prepare yourself. Prepare your friends. Prepare your loved ones. Prepare everybody around you to understand, like, hey, the next 3 to 6 months, things might be a little different, but this is all for the betterment of the future of my company. That's number one. Like, just know that going in.
Okay.
Like, I've seen accelerators really take a toll on people's personal lives. The other thing I would say to get prepared, and this is critical, this is like the first thing you should do when you find out you got accepted into accelerator, is make a plan. Look at a schedule, look at a calendar, and come up with a schedule, a week-by-week schedule of what you want to do. Like, first make a plan of what you want to do. What do you want to accomplish? What are the goals you're going to set for yourself? And then make a week-by-week plan of what things you want to accomplish in that week. Like on week 1, you want to have the first iteration of your latest version of your product, out. You also, like, every 2 weeks, you want to make sure you reach out to at least 3 major clients. By week 5, you want to identify all the mentors in your program, all the people who are affiliated with your accelerator who you want intros to. Like, you need to break down week by week what your goals are every week and what you want to accomplish every week. For the technical side, for the business side, for the sales side, you want to break that down. Because there's nothing worse than getting to an accelerator and having no plan and trying to come up with it on the fly.
So you're supposed to have a plan before you actually get into the accelerator. Maybe it might just be me, but I thought me going into the accelerator would like help me develop a plan.
It is. It's going to help you develop a plan on what you want to do next for your company. But you want to have a plan for yourself of like what your goals that you want to accomplish. Now, granted, as you said, that timeline and those plans are going to change dramatically throughout the program. But to have an idea of where you want to start and where you want to end day one and what you want to do in the middle helps. It definitely helps because within that first week, the program starts. Like it's not an ease-in process. Day
Hmm.
one is your orientation. Day two, you're working. And then you start having your speaker series and meeting with your mentors. And when you go to those speaker series, you want to look at your plan and see what you want to accomplish and know what kind of questions you want to ask that speaker. So typically for accelerators, once or twice a week, you're going to have special guests come in, and they're going to be very seasoned entrepreneurs or investors. You want to research those people before they come to speak to you, know what their expertise are, and come up with questions that you want to ask them. And make sure you ask your questions. It's going to be several people from several teams around the table. Speak up because your questions are important. And don't be afraid to ask questions that are directly impacting to your company specifically. Like, this might be your only chance you'll ever get to speak to this person. Great example. I was in an accelerator, the New Me Accelerator, very great accelerator, by the way. Caters to minority entrepreneurs. And Ben Horowitz came to talk to us. Now, Ben Horowitz is one of the top investors in the world. He runs one of the top VC firms in the Valley. Like, I'm not supposed to be in the room sitting at a table talking to Ben Horowitz. And this might be my only chance in life to be able to get knowledge out of this man.
Hmm.
So I had to make sure I asked my questions. And if my questions was going to be very particular to my industry or my company, that's fine. This might be my one chance to ask. So don't be afraid to ask those kind of questions and be ready for those speaker sessions. And having a plan helps you, start that out. Now about week 4 or 5, that plan will start to change. You might start to see flaws in your business model or your plan or your product, and things might start to change. But having that plan going in day one and knowing where you want to be by the end of the program, it's a must. It's definitely a must.
So in that first month, what should I expect if I were to have gone into an accelerator? Or does it, I mean, I'm only assuming that not all accelerators are ABC, that they all are formatted the same way.
Yeah, so all accelerators aren't formatted the same way, but what you can expect in that first month is you're going to get a lot of, and this is throughout the whole program, you're going to get a lot of advice from a lot of smart people. Be prepared to take in a lot of good advice, a lot of bad advice, and know how to shuffle through all that. You're going to learn really quickly how big or how small your industry is, what people really think about it, what investors really think about it, and where you kind of stand. Like you're going to learn all that in the first month. Like once you talk to a few really smart entrepreneurs and investors, you're going to start to see really clearly, how many competitors there really are in your space, like startup competitors. What people really think about your idea, what flaws there are in your idea, and what flaws there might be in your pitch. Also, within that first month, you should have, by the end of your first month, you should have a good rough draft of what your pitch is going to be. And for the last 2 months, you should be refining that pitch and refining that pitch deck to get ready for demo day. Because the big goal is the end of the program is demo day. Well, that all starts in the beginning. So, start to put together your pitch. And also, some programs have you pitch every day of the program. Like from day 1 to day 90, you pitch every single day. Some programs, not so much. They have you hit a midway point where you pitch, and then you start to kind of massage your deck from there. If you're an accelerator where they're not requiring that you get together and you pitch every single day or once a week, you should start doing that yourself. Start putting your deck together, and once or twice a week, have somebody in the program or have a member from another team sit in and hear you go through your pitch deck. If you don't have a deck, when you get there, start to work on one. And you want to start working on that and iterating that and making that better and better and better. Because the more you do it, the easier it's going to become demo day. Like, by demo day, it should be second nature. Like, you shouldn't even be thinking about what you're going to say or what the slide looks like. Like, you should just flow. Great example of that was when I was a new me, I knew my deck so well that when I was up there pitching, I wasn't using the clicker right, so I wasn't clicking through my slides. But I didn't know. I couldn't look at my slides. So I didn't even notice what was happening. I was just going through. And when somebody finally mentioned like, hey, your slides aren't moving, it didn't break my concentration on my pitch. I was just able to go back, click through the slides to get to where I was and pick it back up because I just knew it so well. And that came from pitching and working on my deck so much that by the time demo day came, it was nothing. So by the time I got in front of investors, it was even easier. It was a small audience.
So we kind of fast forward all the way to demo day. I'm going to kind of revert back to the first month, just because.
Preparations for demo day start day one. Just remember that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, okay, so you're preparing for a demo day, you're preparing your deck, and then you also said that you're meeting with so many people, and at the same time is that like you're on top of preparing your deck, you're like making sure that you're pitching it almost on a daily basis. But that's a chunk of time that I can think of. How much time am I like, or is someone going to go in on that first month and working, like I like working on the actual product and then doing all of that, like on top of all of that you just shared?
Well, first of all, you should have a really good team. That's the one thing we talked about, right? So me as the CEO, my primary objective when I was in these accelerators was to gain as much insight about my industry and about my product as I could, to prepare my pitch deck and get ready for demo day, and to start looking at what we had to do to become fundable and putting a strategic plan around that, as well as working on our social media plan and stuff like that. That was my, direct, role when we were in accelerators. My two co-founders were pretty much the tech team, front end and a back end developer. Their goals were iterating on our product as fast as possible, making the changes that we're bringing back to them that we were getting from customers every week. So while the business side of the team should be handling, your marketing, your sales, your social media, trying to get intros, worrying about your deck and your strategic plan, your engineering side of the team should be worried about the product and getting the product right, getting the product ready. All the changes you need to make. If you come up with a strategic idea that you think is going to change the game, have that ready. Can we build this, in this time? Or if you know that you have a certain speaker coming that's a big time investor that you actually want to have a meeting with. Okay, can we build this to our product to have it ready so that when the speaker comes, we can ask them about that, and then afterwards try to set up a meeting with them like a week or two later. Like, can we do that in that time frame? So the tech team should be building nonstop, making all the changes and going through the plan. You might want to have a whiteboard and every day break down what you want to accomplish and also what you want to accomplish for the week and a month. And as things change, or if you see other functions or features you want to add or fundamental changes you want to make, add those to the whiteboard and move things around as much as you have to. And you have to put everything in time frame. You got to look at the time frame. Like, hey, this is who I want to meet, or this is when we have an introduction coming, or we got an introduction and we set up a meeting. Can we have this done by the time we get to this meeting? If there's some mind-blowing demo we can come up with. Because like for me as the CEO, I might set up a meeting with a really big potential partner. And this might all be in the first month. The accelerator might have a connection to a really big partner of ours. They made an intro to me and I got a meeting. Now I have to have myself a really good demo ready for that meeting. So then I gotta go to my tech team like, hey, I need this demo. Can we put something together, throw something together, so that when I walk up in there and I go through this storyboard or this demo that is gonna blow them away. Well, that's something y'all gotta work on and get done right then and there. Like, there's no time to push things back. That 3 months is so compacted. You gotta be ready and you gotta be able to change on a dime. You gotta be able to make changes and do whatever you gotta do on a dime. I mean, as a startup, you should already be used to these kind of things. It's a more intensified environment, but it's really the same things you already do. It's just more intense.
So before the actual first day, my team, I'm just going to say this on behalf of anyone that's getting into a startup, is that we should already have, technically you should already have a pitch deck together.
You should.
And then your team should already be already know exactly what the plan would be for the 3 months, despite the fact that it could potentially completely change, but at least you start off with a plan.
Yes, definitely.
And then also be prepared and forewarn friends and family of any changes that might occur in terms of stress or not being able to give them time for the next 3 months.
Yes, especially if you have to move to another location. So
Mm-hmm.
most accelerators require that you live wherever their accelerator is. So, I'm from Baltimore. I live in Baltimore. That's where my home is. The new me accelerator was in San Francisco, so I moved there for 3 months. I did that twice. Just up and moved. So that was a big change for all the people around me. You could be, there are accelerators all over the place. It could be Miami, it could be Philadelphia, it could be New York, it could be Boston, it could be Colorado. If it's somewhere different that you're not going to be that you're going to be away from your family, and it might not be easy for you to go back and visit. I know in one of my accelerators, they had a requirement that you couldn't be gone for more than 3 days. Because to miss 3 days would mean you were going to miss a lot, and that was just unacceptable. If you miss 3 days, they send you home. Like, know all the rules going in, and let all your friends and family members know, like, hey, I might not come home. I might not be able to come home to visit. You might have to come see me, and if you come see me, I might not have a lot of time. Like, gotta be prepared for those things.
Actually, I have like one more, and I think it's going to be my last question, but you kind of brought it up within that last statement that you said. So you could potentially, like there are or startups that could get kicked out of accelerators in the first month?
Yeah, you can get kicked out and accelerated. Not typically in the first month. I mean, if you got kicked out in the first month, you were doing something, but it can happen. There are stories out there, there are blogs out there, people who got kicked out of startups. When you're kicked out of accelerators, I'm sorry. When you're in an accelerator, there's also a culture fit. Every accelerator has its own culture, has its own program. If you feel like the program's not right for you, you might want to leave. If you feel like the rules are really stringent and they're holding you back as a company, you might find issues with that, and you might bump heads with the people who run the program. If you're not being dedicated and showing up and doing the things they ask you to do, they might send you home. Or you might just get in the position where they tell you, hey, you didn't do all the things we required of you. You can't pitch on demo day. Like, those things happen. Those things really happen. If you don't do what's required of you or expected of you for that program, you might be sent home, or you might not be able to pitch on demo day. And that's important because these programs are putting a lot of time and money and effort into you, a lot of resources. And they're putting resources into you because they're looking for a return.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not doing the things you need to do for them to see that return, well, that's a bad situation. It's just like raising money from an investor and then you're not doing what you need to do to advance your company forward. Well, yeah, they gave you their money already. It's there. But no, that you go through that process once, you might never raise money again.
Mm. And that's no fun.
No, it's no fun. So yeah, be prepared. That first month, it's a doozy. It's a transition period, and you're gonna have to get used to it. By the third or fourth week, you start to get into a groove and know how to go through the program and what you're gonna do. But be prepared for that. And yeah, that's the first month of an accelerator. That was a good one. That was a good conversation.
I think so too. I mean, I think the next one or the next vlog should be in terms of the second month. It's going to be more of a monthly basis because you kind of really have to break down each month. And I think what the second month is kind of like where your pinnacle point is to be able to prepare for the demo day, which happens to be in the third month. So maybe we can get some meat and potatoes on how to properly hack a demo or how to properly, maybe, yeah, let's do that. Maybe you can just show us a demo or a deck that you have. I might be poking on a project that you might be working on right now, but it'd be nice to see an example.
So I do actually have links to my demo day pitch for my first two accelerators.
Perfect.
Maybe we'll share those in the next
Yes.
video. Maybe I'll share the link for those in the next video. But
Well,
next video,
yes.
we'll talk about what happens for that second month. What should you be doing in the second month? Because that second month is critical. That's a big deal. So what should you be doing that second month? And I'll give out some of my personal tips and secrets on how I kind of how I differed from other teams my second month of my programs.
Yes. I like that.
Sounds good. Well, everybody, hope you enjoyed this week's vlog. Next week we'll talk about what to do the second month of being an accelerator as we go through our accelerator series, and we might even try to get a special guest or two, other people in our network who have gone through acceleration to talk about their experience and what they think about it.
Yay, new faces.
And anybody out there who has any experience with accelerators and would like to jump on, or who has questions and want to know anything about accelerators, please send them our way. Our information will be in the description below. And have a good day, everybody.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
Bye.